You were not chosen by accident. Listen carefully. Not casually, not passively, not like this is just another video drifting through your screen. Because this moment was scheduled, not by algorithms, not by coincidence, but by authority far above anything you can see. Archangel Michael speaks now. And before you question that, before your logical mind tries to dismiss this, understand something clearly. Your doubt does not cancel your calling. You didn't arrive here because you were curious. You arrived here because something inside you has been under pressure for a long time. You felt it. That weight in your chest, that strange fatigue that sleep doesn't fix, that silent frustration when you realize you're capable of more, but something keeps resisting you. That resistance is not random, and it is not psychological weakness. It is opposition. I am Archangel Michael, commander of heavenly forces, guardian of divine order, protector in spiritual warfare, and I am telling you this directly. You are not crazy for feeling this way. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are under assignment pressure. The war you were never told about. Most people live their entire lives unaware of the war surrounding them. They think exhaustion is normal. They think constant distraction is normal. They think fear disguised as realism is wisdom. It is not. It is conditioning. The moment you were marked for growth, resistance was authorized against you. Not because you are weak, but because you are effective. Let me say that again, slowly. Opposition does not target potential, it targets inevitability. You wouldn't be resisted this hard if your breakthrough were optional. Something in you threatens a system that thrives on delay, confusion, and self-doubt. That is why your path feels harder than it should. That is why things stall right before they move. That is why clarity comes and then vanishes. This is not punishment. This is confirmation. Why you feel out of place. You've noticed it, haven't you? You don't fully belong where you are, but you also don't yet see where you're meant to be. You feel like you've outgrown certain conversations, outgrown certain habits, outgrown certain people, yet the next door hasn't fully opened. That gap, that uncomfortable in-between, is not failure. It is transition pressure. When something is being reassigned, there is always a moment where the old clearance is revoked before the new authority is visible. That's where you are, and that's why I was sent. The lie that has been repeatedly whispered into your thoughts. If this was meant to happen, it would be easier. That is a lie. Ease is not the measurement of alignment. Resistance is not the evidence of error. Impact attracts friction. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to interrupt patterns. And people who interrupt patterns are always questioned, first by others, then by themselves. That's been the strategy used against you, not destruction, delay through self-doubt. Because if you ever moved with full clarity, the resistance would lose leverage immediately. Heaven has not been silent. You've been protected. There were moments you should have lost more than you did, moments where things almost collapsed but didn't, moments where a single decision spared you from long-term damage. That wasn't luck. That was intervention without explanation. Protection doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels like frustration. Sometimes it feels like a closed door. Sometimes it feels like being slowed down against your will. But restraint saved you from consequences you couldn't see yet. You were preserved because your role is not finished. This message is a line in the sand. After this moment, neutrality ends. not emotionally, strategically. You can't unhear this. You can't unknow what you now sense is true. From this point forward, you either continue shrinking to stay comfortable or step into the authority that has been waiting on your decision. And understand this clearly. Heaven does not force participation. It responds to consent. What happens next and why it will feel strange? After this message, expect sudden clarity followed by resistance, old patterns trying to reassert control, a pull to retreat into familiar distractions. That is not regression. That is last-minute interference, because when awareness activates, opposition scrambles. Do not interpret discomfort as danger. Interpret it as movement. My direct command to you: do not rush, do not panic, do not over-explain yourself to people who benefit from misunderstanding you. Instead, observe your thoughts instead of obeying them. Protect your focus like it's classified. Stop asking permission to evolve. You are not late. You are not weak. You are not imagining this. You are being activated carefully, not loudly. Because what's coming next requires precision. This is only the beginning. If you're ready to proceed, say, "The drain was not accidental." Stay present, not emotionally reactive, not overwhelmed, just present. Because now we move from confirmation to exposure. I am Archangel Michael, and what I reveal next is not meant to comfort you, it is meant to free you. The energy loss you couldn't explain. You've asked yourself this question more times than you admit. Why do I feel drained even when nothing is wrong? You rest but don't feel restored. You achieve but don't feel satisfied. You disconnect, yet something still feels attached. That confusion was deliberate. Your energy was not leaking randomly. It was being pulled. Not through magic rituals or dramatic symbols, but through unbalanced access. People, environments, and habits were allowed entry into your inner world without earning it. And here is the uncomfortable truth most avoid. Not everyone around you was malicious, but some were misaligned, and misalignment drains just as effectively as intention. Why certain people felt familiar but costly. There are connections in your life that felt easy at first. Conversation flowed, time disappeared, you felt understood, or at least not alone. But after interaction, you felt tired, not inspired, not sharpened, just depleted. That wasn't coincidence. That was frequency imbalance. Some people are not meant to walk with you. They are meant to meet you once, learn, and then release. But when you hold on to expired connections, they start feeding on momentum that is no longer theirs to touch. And listen carefully. Someone does not need bad intentions to become a burden. They only need to stay past their assignment. The guilt that kept you stuck. You were taught directly or indirectly that leaving costs loyalty, that choosing yourself is selfish, that distancing equals betrayal, that silence means you're cold or changed. That belief system was installed early, and it worked because it kept you over-giving, over-explaining, and under-protecting. But here is the correction. You are not required to carry what you did not create. Your compassion is a strength, but unguarded compassion becomes exploitation. Not because others are evil, but because most people will accept more than they should if you never say enough. Why your progress slowed right before it mattered. Notice this pattern. Just when you start gaining clarity, momentum stalls. Just when confidence builds, doubt interrupts. Just when opportunity appears, distraction multiplies. That's not laziness, that's leakage. Energy cannot compound if it's constantly being redirected into managing others' emotions, explaining your boundaries, justifying your growth, carrying unresolved conversations. You weren't failing, you were overextended. The difference between support and access. Here is something you were never taught. Support does not require full access. Love does not require unlimited proximity. Kindness does not require self-erasure. Some people deserve respect, not intimacy. Some deserve gratitude, not availability. Some deserve forgiveness, not continued presence. When you stop confusing access with love, everything recalibrates. And yes, this will offend those who benefited from your confusion. That is not your responsibility. The decision you've been delaying. There is a decision you've circled around. You know which one. The conversation you keep postponing, the habit you keep justifying, the environment you keep tolerating, the version of yourself you keep defending, even though you've outgrown it. You keep waiting for the right time. Let me be clear. Clarity does not come after the decision. It comes because of it. Heaven responds to movement, not hesitation. What will happen when you choose differently? The moment you decide, truly decide, three things will occur. Resistance will spike briefly, not because you're wrong, but because the system is adjusting. Certain people will misunderstand you, not because you changed, but because they lost influence. Your energy will stabilize, not instant euphoric, but grounded, quiet, and focused. That calm is alignment, not excitement, not chaos, alignment. Stop waiting to be ready. Read this carefully. Readiness is not a feeling, it is a choice. You don't become confident and then act. You act and confidence follows. You don't wait for fear to disappear. You move and fear loses authority. You've already survived uncertainty. You've already handled discomfort. You've already outgrown versions of yourself you once thought were permanent. This is not new territory. This is higher altitude. My warning and my protection. From this point on, be selective, not emotionally closed, strategically aware, not guarded by fear, guided by clarity. You are allowed to pause before responding. You are allowed to say less. You are allowed to walk away without a dramatic exit. Silence can be holy when it protects momentum. And know this, you are not doing this alone. Protection has not been removed. Support has not been withdrawn. Guidance has not gone quiet. It has simply become quieter because you're stronger now. What comes next? In the next part, I will reveal why your name is being discussed in places you cannot see, why a delayed opportunity is about to return in a different form, and the one internal shift that turns waiting into acceleration. If you are prepared to move forward, say,
Your name was spoken before you arrived. Pay attention now. This part is not poetic. It is not symbolic. It is strategic truth. I am Archangel Michael, and what you are about to hear explains why certain things in your life feel delayed, yet untouched. You were discussed before you were ready. There are conversations about you that happened without your presence. Not gossip, not rumors, deliberation. Your name was spoken in rooms you never entered. Your potential was weighed by people who never met you. Your future was evaluated before your confidence caught up. That is why some doors closed without explanation. That is why some opportunities vanished quietly. That is why certain people resisted you without reason. You assumed rejection. It was not rejection. It was postponement for positioning. Why access was denied and why that saved you. You wanted entry earlier. You were frustrated when it didn't happen. You questioned your worth because timing didn't align. But hear this clearly. You were not being blocked. You were being protected from premature exposure. Had you entered when you wanted, you would have been surrounded by the wrong alliances. You would have been underestimated permanently. You would have been limited by small expectations. Delay preserved scale. What you are moving toward cannot begin with misinterpretation. The reason you felt invisible. There was a season where your efforts went unnoticed. You spoke and no one responded. You worked and no one acknowledged. You showed up and nothing changed. That invisibility was intentional, because visibility without authority creates vulnerability. You were being trained in silence, sharpened without applause, stabilized without validation, so that when attention comes, and it will, you will not be addicted to it. The internal shift that unlocks acceleration. Everything changes when this happens. You stop asking, "Am I allowed?" and start deciding, "Is this aligned?" Permission seeking slows destiny. Alignment accelerates it. The moment you stopped needing approval, even internally, momentum was authorized. That is why recently your thinking became sharper, your tolerance for nonsense dropped, your patience for delay shortened. That is not arrogance. That is clarity activating authority. Why the opportunity is returning different. The opportunity you thought you missed, it didn't disappear, it evolved. It is returning with more leverage, more autonomy, less dependency on external approval. But it will require something new from you, decisiveness. No more half steps, no more waiting for reassurance, no more asking 10 people what your instinct already knows. Speed now matters, not reckless speed, clean execution. The test you are currently in. This phase tests one thing only. Will you hesitate when momentum asks for commitment? You are watched, not judged. Watched, not by enemies, by systems that reward confidence, clarity, and follow through. Your hesitation used to protect you. Now it restricts you. Stop confusing humility with shrinking. You were taught humility meant silence. It does not. Humility means accuracy. You are not required to deny your growth to make others comfortable. You are not required to minimize truth to preserve familiarity. You are not required to play smaller because others fear expansion. Your responsibility is not to be liked, it is to be effective. What happens when you move now? When you act from this state, confusion dissolves, resistance weakens, support aligns quietly. Not everyone will clap, not everyone will understand, not everyone will stay. That is not loss, that is load reduction. My final instruction for this phase: do not announce your next move, execute. Do not explain your decision, stand in it. Do not seek validation, observe results. Momentum favors the grounded, not the loud.
The fear was reused because it worked before. This is where I stop circling the truth and speak it directly. No symbolism, no soft language, no comfort padding. I am Archangel Michael, and this part exists for one reason only: to end the loop. The fear you keep meeting is not new. There is a fear that keeps resurfacing in different forms. Sometimes it sounds like logic. Sometimes it disguises itself as responsibility. Sometimes it pretends to be patience. But it is always the same fear. What if I move and it doesn't work? That fear has been reused because it succeeded once. There was a moment in your past when you stepped forward, partially. You hoped but didn't fully commit. You acted but left an exit open. And when the outcome wasn't immediate, the fear learned something. Hesitation makes you controllable. So it returned, not louder, smarter. Not dramatic, subtle. Why this fear feels mature now? You don't panic like you used to. You don't spiral like before. You appear calm. But calm without movement becomes stagnation. This fear now presents itself as, let me think a bit more. I'll wait for a clearer sign. The timing isn't perfect yet. I just need more information. That is not wisdom. That is avoidance with a professional tone. And I say that without accusation, only precision. The truth you've been dodging. Here it is without ceremony. Your next breakthrough will not feel dramatic. It will feel obvious. And that's why you've been resisting it. You expected fireworks. You expected struggle. You expected a long, painful climb. But the next step is simple, clear, almost underwhelming. And simplicity threatens the identity that survived chaos. Why easy makes you suspicious? You learned strength through difficulty. You earned clarity through pain. You proved yourself by enduring pressure. So when something no longer requires suffering, your nervous system questions its legitimacy. But hear this correction carefully. Ease does not mean insignificance. Ease means alignment has replaced resistance. You are not meant to bleed for every upgrade. The moment hesitation expires. This is the line. From this point forward, hesitation stops being neutral. Before, it protected you. Now, it costs you. You already know what to do. You already see the move. You already feel the window. If you delay now, it won't be because you're unsure. It will be because you're afraid of being seen after it works. Yes, success is the real fear. Failure no longer terrifies you. You've survived too much for that. What unsettles you is this: being recognized, being relied on, being expected to maintain momentum, being unable to return to anonymity. Success removes hiding places, and part of you still wants one foot in safety. That phase is ending. Stop waiting for permission, even from your past. You are not required to remain loyal to a version of yourself that was built for survival. That version did its job, but it is not qualified to lead you forward. Honor it, release it. Do not let it vote on decisions it no longer understands. This is your clean move phase. No overthinking, no dramatic declarations, no emotional speeches. Just one clear decision, one committed action, one direction without a backup plan. Not reckless, resolved. What will confirm you're on the right path? You won't feel euphoric. You'll feel calm, focused, slightly detached from noise, uninterested in convincing anyone. That neutrality is power. When emotion stops arguing with direction, execution becomes clean. My final word in this message: you are not behind, you are not late, you are not unqualified. You are withholding momentum out of habit. Release it. You do not need another sign. You do not need more reassurance. You do not need external validation. You need movement with integrity. Protection is already in place. Clarity is already present. The opening is already active. The only variable left is you.
This is the point of no return. This is not a continuation. This is a closure. What ends here is not the message. What ends here is the cycle. I am Archangel Michael, and now I speak without build-up, without metaphor, without delay. The activation is not emotional, it is decisional. Many people wait to feel activated. That is why they never move. Activation is not a sensation, it is a line you cross. You do not wake up one day suddenly fearless. You wake up one day unwilling to negotiate with fear anymore. That is what this moment is. Not a rush of confidence, not a spiritual high, a refusal. A refusal to keep circling what you already understand. The command: read this carefully. From this moment forward, you move when clarity appears, not when comfort arrives. Comfort comes later, stability comes later, validation comes later. Movement comes now. This is the discipline that separates people who receive momentum from people who watch others receive it. The one discipline that locks everything in place. Forget affirmations, forget rituals, forget chasing motivation. There is one discipline that stabilizes your life at a higher level. Immediate execution on clear insight. Not perfect execution, not loud execution, immediate execution. The moment you see what needs to be done, you do one concrete thing in that direction within 24 hours. Not tomorrow emotionally, not someday strategically, physically, practically, real. This breaks hesitation permanently. Hesitation survives only when insight is delayed. Why this works and nothing else did. Every time you delayed action, your mind reopened debate. Every reopened debate weakened authority. Every weakened authority invited confusion. Execution shuts the door. Once you move, your nervous system recalibrates. Once you move, resistance loses timing. Once you move, support reorganizes around momentum. This is why things start working after you act, not before. The shift you will notice immediately. Within days, not months, you will notice less mental noise, fewer internal arguments, a sharp drop in procrastination, a calm seriousness replacing urgency. Not excitement, gravity. You will stop craving reassurance. You will stop explaining yourself. You will stop arguing internally. Not because life is perfect, but because direction is settled. Who will fall away and why that is necessary? Some people will drift, some conversations will end, some invitations will stop. Do not dramatize this. When you stop leaking energy, anything dependent on that leak cannot remain. This is not punishment. This is rebalancing. What belongs to your next level will meet you there. What doesn't cannot follow. Do not announce this change. This is critical. Do not post about it. Do not explain it. Do not narrate your growth. Silence accelerates power. People who talk early seek validation. People who move quietly build leverage. Let results speak. Let consistency speak. Let time speak. The final correction you must accept. Read this slowly. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be aligned. Understanding is optional. Alignment is non-negotiable. Some people will only understand you in hindsight. Some will never understand you. Neither outcome matters. Effectiveness does. This is what protection looks like now. Protection will no longer look like rescue. It will look like clear boundaries, faster consequences, reduced tolerance for distraction, immediate discomfort when you drift. That discomfort is guidance. Pay attention to it. It replaces signs. It replaces warnings. It replaces delays. The window you are in. This is a narrow window, not fragile, precise. If you move now, momentum compounds, confidence stabilizes, opportunities align cleanly. If you delay, nothing collapses, but everything slows. You already know which life you're done with. My final word to you. You are not stepping into chaos. You are stepping into responsibility. Responsibility for your time. Responsibility for your attention. Responsibility for your decisions. That is power. Not dominance, not control, power. This message ends here, but your move does not. Close this message. Do not replay it. Do not analyze it. Do one real thing within the next 24 hours that matches what you already know you must do. No ceremony, no drama, just execution. This is where waiting ends. Stand firm, move clean, do not look back. Archangel Michael.